26 yoga poses I no longer do. Number 25 is going to surprise you and embarrass me. A lot of this video is going to be embarrassing, actually. Number 1, triangle pose. Number 2, half moon balancing pose. Number 3, half moon revolved balancing pose. And number 4, Hanumasana pose or splits pose. Now look, the reason for this is that generally my own home practice looks like meditation and Qigong these days. And all those poses take time to build to, and also they're all yoga poses. And then when we look at the trend in teaching yoga these days on YouTube, the trend is towards short classes, 10-minute classes. And all those poses take time to build to. You got to work towards like opening up the hamstrings, opening up the hips, opening up the upper body. And when I look back on the classes where I used to teach those poses, they come at like the 45-minute mark. So my longer classes these days in Hatha Yoga are around the 30-minute mark. So definitely those poses have been dropped. Number 5 and number 6 are Lotus pose and leg behind head pose. Now these are poses that really just don't work in most people's bodies. And you can practice and practice till the cows come home, but you can't change your skeletal structure. So basically, this is not a humble brag at all, but the first time I went into a yoga class, my body was able to go into Lotus pose because my skeletal structure allows for it. But for most people, their skeletal structure doesn't allow for that big external rotation of the hips where the feet can get up on the hips. And same with leg behind head pose. It's more of a contortionist pose, so I don't teach those. Number 7 is Urdhva Dhanurasana or wheel pose. I stopped teaching this a number of years ago. I just didn't see the shoulder flexibility that was needed for this pose, and a lot of people are compromising their bodies trying to get into it, so I stopped teaching it. Number 8 is Chaturanga, and here I'm kind of embarrassed, but just the style of yoga that I teach, I never got taught properly how to do Chaturanga. I don't come from the Ashtanga tradition, and also when you're lifting your body like that, you're lifting your entire body weight. And most people just don't have the strength in their upper body to lift their entire body weight. So in terms of weightlifting in the upper body, I prefer to regress and use things like lifting weights. Because if you go to the gym, there's no way you're gonna lift your body weight in your upper body. I'm not lifting that much at the gym, and I lift all the time at the gym. So I'm just not a big fan of Chaturanga. I don't think we normally lift our upper body weight if we're gonna lift weight in our upper body. So don't know how to do it properly. Don't believe we normally lift our upper body weight with our upper body. So I don't teach that one. Number 9 is an entire group, and it's for the same reason as Chaturanga, which is arm balances. Again, I just don't think we have enough strength in our upper body to lift. Not that we can't work towards that, but just generally most people don't have enough upper body strength. Okay, the next group are poses that I'm embarrassed that I can't do well. So these are things, I told you this video is going to be embarrassing. So number 10 is standing hand to big toe pose. Every time I do this, I feel super awkward, so I drop it. You probably have poses like that too. Let me know what they are in the comments. Another one is revolved seated forward fold. Any seated forward fold where I have to revolve, I feel super awkward in my body. Again, just kind of dropped it. Another pose, my hamstrings are super tight, is harem pose. That's number 13, dropped it again. I just feel super awkward when I do it, dropped it. Number 14 is boat pose, also dropped it. Again, it's the tight hamstrings, just can't get upright in my body where the legs are fully extended, dropped it. Number 15 is downward facing dog. This one, you might have noticed, it got dropped from my practice. I've had frozen shoulder a few times, so I can't fully extend through my arms. And as I get out of that injury, you might notice it's starting to come back, but that was a pose that I didn't do for a number of years. So sometimes because of injuries, poses get dropped. Okay, number 16 is gate pose, and this is just a pose that I forget about from time to time. And there are other poses like that. Thank goodness for you guys. You guys remind me sometimes, but I want to remember this pose. It's such a great pose. Gate pose, number 16. Okay, the next group of poses is not going to surprise you at all. You're probably surprised it wasn't earlier on in the video, but they're inversions. So headstand, shoulder stand, plow pose, handstand, and elbow balance. So obviously headstand, shoulder stand, plow pose, all of these I don't teach because I'm really just concerned about people's necks. I'm an online video teacher, so I don't teach those because I can't I can't watch that. I don't do them myself because I've had whiplash a number of times in car accidents, 3 times. That's it, I'm done with that. But so it's not safe for my own neck. Handstand and elbow balance, that goes along with the weightlifting for the upper body. I think we're better to regress, work on weights, work up to it. I think just most people don't have enough upper body strength. I do think we can regress to progress, but I think that working on upper body strength with your own body weight is probably not the best way to do it. Number 21, I forgot to add in that group, was elbow balance. I used to teach this one a lot. I love it. It's actually one of my favorite inversions. It's a great way to build upper body strength. You can do it from dolphin pose, and there's no worry to the neck. Okay, this next grouping of poses is a little embarrassing, but these are poses that I've dropped because of peer pressure. They are actually ones that I practice on my own, but I generally don't practice them in or offer them in classes anymore because of peer pressure. People complain about these poses, and so I've dropped them from the classes because I don't like when people get mad at me. I'm a people pleaser. So, are you ready for these ones? Number 22 is reclined hero's pose. People complain about their knees in this pose. And even though I give modifications, I hate hearing people complain about their knees. Number 23 is thread the needle pose. People complain about their neck in this pose. They complain if they're bigger chest, then they feel like they're suffocating in this pose. But this is such a great pose to get rotation and open up your chest. And I feel sad that I've dropped this pose. Number 24 is malasana or squat pose, and also it's just such a deep knee bend. Again, all the people with knee issues complain. I give alternatives, but I feel the peer pressure from people with knee issues. This is the one that's probably going to surprise you, but every time I teach cow space pose, people complain till the cows come home. People hate that pose. I love this pose. It's such a great pose, and we can build to it properly. So I told you 25 is probably going to surprise you. Before I tell you number 26, let me know in the comments what pose you no longer do and why. Number 26 is fish pose. It's such a great pose to open up your chest, open up your throat, but people complain about it so much, about getting dizzy, about their neck hurting, so I no longer teach it.